fourth matchup today, and what Takada said meant so much to me because throughout history, even though the bottom or the lower you are on the leaderboard, the harder it is to come back for the big win, there's 10 spots for the global championship up for grabs. If you're out of sight for that first place, you better be in sight for that one.
Easy and Akira currently 3-0 in terms of off-spawn engagements against Cammy and Seti. Will this be the match they turn it around, though? As it looks like they do have the upper hand. Seti now has picked up Easy. 2 versus 1 as the duel continues.
Yeah, no, I want to say Cammy maybe even picking up a spare shotgun to toss on over to his teammate. Kira's just long gone. So even though it does look like they're going to win the contested fight, it's not going to be a full-on wipe like some of the games that we have seen before. I did see in the feed that Cryfoss was down, but so was Merstash. Or I should say Malabuka, but Merstash saving the day this time around. And this is what I want to see. When these guys are able to play as full duos, they're able to make it far into these end games. A second place in that last one with 5 eliminations. This is one of those sleeping giants that I was talking about finally waking up.
Now they're going to be able to pick up the mythic loot once again, the medallion, and continue out their match in Redline Rig. The good news here, as Malabuka having not gone fully down, is that they are not going to have to play the reboot, and the players in the surrounding area won't kind of use that opportunity to third party. So not too bad for Merstash Malabuka. They are on that first page in the leaderboard. I would like to see them a little bit higher throughout the day, but 6th place is not bad at all. All they need is one big match. Nebs and Kiduo, though, looks like they might be wanting to take some trades here.
Yeah, for that moment, I was just thinking, like, for Lox and Chroma, just don't get headshotted with that DMR because they will push you. And as soon as they saw them up there, not only to instantly build to protect themselves, they just disengaged on up. They don't want to fight against elevation, even if the point isn't a fight, but just a rotation. They don't want to take early damage and force to use a lot of their resources and have to go back for any loot.
Axe Force Clown, a repeat of this Pleasant Piazza duel that we keep on seeing. The battle to claim it. Both duos have had a player gone down. It's turned into a 1 versus 1 now. What I'm wondering is, are they going to try and close it out in a 1v1? Or are they going to both go their separate ways? I don't think that's the case, Jacob. I see the confidence from Axe Force. Nitro right into the box now, just 1 shot away from cleaning it up. And that's the second elimination. Clown Axe Force now showing why they're on the upper half of this leaderboard.
Yeah, they need to continue this momentum because after that first place, they had very minimal points. Nothing in game 3 and maybe about 4 to 6 points in game number 2.
Oh.
Go back on this fight towards the outside. It is 2-1 to Phantom and QNDX up until this point where Kaido, Haijo even the score yet again.
2-2. I don't think either duo is going to be leaving with a scoreline like that, Jacob. We'll get right back into the action. Hopefully even tomorrow. The deal and reason, though, 78 points. They're not doing bad, but they could be doing a lot better.
Orion kind of contesting over here. Might have to stay over here depending on where that reboot card actually is, but he has to be careful for Monier. Luckily, he's going straight up to that launch pad, so there will be no line of sight there. So this is a clear 1v1 if Marine wants to take it. But Lunex is full shield, so I like the patience coming out of Marine. Just not necessarily going 0 to 100 because he has that massive disadvantage because not only does he have shield, he doesn't have a shotgun either.
Yeah, I don't think Marine wants to take this, even if he has the perfect opportunity to open fire onto Lunex there. Monier is not only up above, but I don't even know how many materials Marine has. It's just not a winning fight he wants to take. His hope right now is that they don't find him, and he has time to pick up his duo partner later on, but oh no, I think this might be it.
He didn't see him at first. That was just one of those situations where you think he sees you, but he doesn't. Marine just trying to fight with everything that he has, but we knew how much of a mismatch that fight was before it even started.
Not much you can do in that situation, to be fair. He got a little panicked there, thinking that he was seen, but he probably would have been a couple seconds after. So it was good to take those initial shots. Eclipse Dexy, I think they went down in one of the kind of early game fights in the last match, so they don't want to repeat that. But having 0 builds right now, they're forced to take out this engagement. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, and he's already weak, scrambling around, no build, so he can't even protect himself when teammates against him get PC. And Walks and Pings know he's a solo. Even though there's a couple teams in the distance, they quickly clean that one up. And that was very, very important to clean it up quick, because there's 2 teams towards the north, 1 instantly towards the east. I got to imagine one of them maybe is even Nathan and CZB, because this is the same rotation they've been making all day long.
Yeah, I'm looking around. There's just too many duos in the area. If you're at Walks and Ping here, you already secured an elimination and a bit of damage for the second one. You don't really want to put yourself at risk with so many threats in the area. So they are just going to continue rotating on through.
Yeah, that's what we would call getting greedy for damage, for any bit of loot. Sometimes you just got to take what you can get, even if it's a singular elimination. As Nathan CZB, just north of Reckless Reels this time around. Different zone means a little bit of a different path when it comes to finding your surge, finding your loot. And so far, we were talking about north zone suiting them. This time around, it does look like it's going to have that north lean.
Lolo looking to see if he can kind of find an angle onto his opponents that crash padded away, but you can see in the minimap how far he actually ended up going. I don't think they're going to find any openings here.
It's just a question, do you chase it? Do you chase it off the side of the mountain? I think got that one answered relatively quickly. It's a good amount of loot, and with nobody here on this side of the map, you could easily make your way back up that side of the mountain.
Just take a bit of time is the only issue, and time is everything, but
True.
they should be good with that elimination. Thomas and Queasy, 46 points so far. They're going to win a big game here, hopefully, to close out day 1. It's going to be Sky Scroll on the opposing end as they kind of begin their little turtle box fight.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think when you look at Queasy and Thomas and their best game so far is 13th. And right below them on the leaderboard is Art Skill and Shaco's with 40 points. You continue to look down, 32 points for Sky and Scroll. That's the team that is right across from them. Not too many points separating a lot of these teams on the lower half of the leaderboard, and that's why you think these little moves like this are very, very impactful, deciding your game plan. You can see their resource count very, very low. I would say the big lucky thing for them is they have a good amount of metal, so farming up the brick, the wood is probably going to be the easiest thing they go through as this rotation happens.
Taking a look here, Chapantini is not only getting pressured by a duo below them, but there's also a duo at afar taking shots, so got to be careful where you open up here. Heals are going to come through, Flowberry's going to come through, and it looks like they will make a rotation with the crash pad towards zone here. Issue is 1, 2, 3, 4 duos in the area. So it looks like instead of going directly to zone, they are going to choose to go backwards and kind of take more of a safe route.
Yeah, Forecast Tower. Hasn't spawned up just yet. They're the ones who usually claim it more times than not on that side of the map. I do believe they know Pablo and Bevies is over on this side of the map, so they're being very, very cautious, which is why they backtrack. So not only do they have the chance to get that Forecast Tower, but they also have a chance to get one of 2 different launch pads, one at the high up top of that mountain, and then one kind of on the other side where there's a little bit of a hill.
It's that environmental mobility that kind of helps you get back to zone as quickly as possible for 9 and Della. It's like their search base is kind of getting destructed as they're down below. Good news is they can replenish that quite quickly as they'll now take a look at the opposing team who was kind of taking shots at them. Don't want to trip though. Falling from that height will not be fun.
Almost looked like he was just about to jump on that piece there for a second.
Yeah.
Surprised if anybody else just got a little bit of jump scare there for a moment. Vico Flixie, not running too far from Reckless Railways. They don't necessarily have to. Yeah, they could have started a little bit of an early rotation going towards the north, but as it's pushing towards the north, all those teams towards the south are going to rotate in this direction, maybe towards the east, maybe a little bit towards the west, but this is going to give Vico Flixie the best chance for some early game surge by staggering themselves like this.
Making sure to make use of their time. We talked about it being everything. If you're not looking for tags, at least be farming something. As Vico heard that crash pad come through, it's the cue to look for an angle onto Flipmonk and Farine, but not quick enough to get any shots in. Yanis Pixie also going to be building their base up, so even just 1-2 shots can be everything here on these rotations. Flipmonk now Gonna get tagged.
It's just tough because once you see one surge tower, you kind of don't want to rotate into it too much. And then you see two at the top of Reckless Railway, so it's kind of a counterintuitive effort with both of those teams building those surge towers there. Nobody's likely going to rotate in them, especially since there's all that space on the west. The zone is pulling towards the north. Kind of see no edge of the zone right now. And we're almost at the farthest point north towards Classy, so the zone will continue to move in this direction. And hopefully a lot of teams start to take note of that, position themselves accordingly sooner rather than later. So that way, when all these other teams come in, low on surge, trying to bully you for their shots, it may not be you because you built such a big base away from everybody else.
Seeing Queasy alone there. It's not something I like to see, to be fully honest, Jacob. He's lost Thomas, and now he's kind of forced into that difficult situation of, you know, do I reboot him? When do I reboot him? There's too many duos in the area. It is third zone. The spare loot is inside of Nathan's box right now, so it's going to be a waiting game for Queasy.
Yeah, and it's just tough because the zone, like I said, is moving in this direction. So for Queasy, he's kind of hoping go west, maybe some south, go west. So that way, all these players that are currently here will then have to rotate, and that's going to be this opportunity to try to get Thomas's reboot card. But as of now, it started with two teams to the north, and now with another one rotating into the south. That's three teams now surrounding Queasy in a solo position.
Switching on over to Swizzy Vanya. They have bumped themselves up into second place. We talked about there only being a 12-point difference in the last match from 5th to 2nd. Them being in 5th and now being bumped up to 2nd. Can they overthrow Vico and Flixie, though? They've been the most consistent duo so far, but Vico and Flixie had that pop-off finish. It's kind of helped them create that gap between 1st and 2nd place, but this is a marathon, not a race. If Swizzy and Vanya can keep it up in day 2, we might see a change come through.
Right now, Rift Island, you kind of see where it's going to go. Sweezy and Vanya seem like they have the best position to try to contest it early on. If anybody moves up there after that, we'll see Storm Surge for a moment, dictating a little bit of this fight. You hear shields getting cracked. It slows down, turns off for a quick second as Nebs and Kuduo against Clown and Axe Force. And there's some eliminations for both of these teams already, but they're just kind of stuck in zone. There's one more team to the west that you really don't have to worry about. It's more so those three teams on the east that to watch out for and path accordingly.
There's about, you said, 3 teams east, 2 teams west, and you have Clown and Axe in the middle of both of them. They are going to choose to take the route towards zone, have medkits to recuperate what they've lost, so no issues there. You are going to have the duos that are on Rift Island, though, with an incredible line of sight to kind of take shots at duos like Clown and Axe as they're rotating in. So they do have to be cautious of that. Use kind of as much environmental cover as they can to not use up their materials. But the good news for them is Akira and Easy are going to be kind of taking battles and shots up against Vanya and Swizzy. So they're not focused on the duos rotating, more the duos directly in front of them.
I just shivered just a little bit. Swizzy with the mythic hand cannon. He already has the mythic combat. So right now he can pack a punch from far away. Polish and Votus, they were the ones that quickly were in that line of sight, but you see they get targeted, quickly box up just like a lot of teams would. Pixie and Yanis, a little slower to rotate on out, but with this rotation, they're going towards the east, quickly moving towards the north. With all the teams that were previously in this position moving towards the south earlier on in some of these zones, that leaves a lot of space for Pixie and Yanis to try to claim. You kind of see them moving up towards the north. They're going to get a sweet spot, and if the zone continues to move in this direction, they're set for the rest of the game.
I'm curious how CZB and Nathan might perform as well. I know Levin was talking about it. When these zones pulled up north, just like the zone we're seeing right now, they saw a lot of success in their matches, not having to rotate too far. So we'll see if they can live up to what we kind of predicted earlier on.
Gonna be a north zone. Got a couple teams trying to rotate very, very quickly towards the north. Nathan, CZB, Takata, you talked about them for that quick second, and they wasted no time going north. But surprisingly enough, the zone continues to move even more north where they're currently at. So even though they're safe in the zone for now, their journey is not over yet.
It's a perfect start for this duo. Can they finish it off, though? That's what I'm wondering. So far, they're looking healthy. They have a good amount of eliminations, so if they can keep it up, this could be huge. The issue is when you get so many zones and you're already kind of so up north, it can be difficult to find tags. The good news is being on the edge of the zone, all the players rotating in are going to come kind of in the line of sight of CZB and Nathan, so they shouldn't even have to move at all or make any risky peeks to get that damage. You can see Malibuca Mustache rotating from one extreme to the other extreme of the map and doing it almost flawlessly, already being on kind of a prime position in zone. My question is, though, how much damage have they done during that rotate? It must have taken them so long.
You see Chapatini, they're moving towards the north. The thing about this zone, you can kind of see a good picture of it here. Almost half the zone is north in the water, which means it is going to cut back towards the south, maybe east, west a little bit. It's very, very telling where this next couple zones could potentially end up as Chapatini. Over 800 damage above the threshold. They didn't even need to continue fighting. But it's all about proving a point here. That's kind of how they started to become so dominant. Just taking fight after fight. Belusi, Focus, they're the ones that are in the line of sight for now, but Chap takes a big shot. He's forced to back up. Can't really go on the offensive just yet. And Teeny knows it's basically by himself, so he's picking and choosing. He shields one. Belusi's trying to go all in. They edit it, and that was a misfortune of an edit right there because Chap tries to go in. He takes a big shot, forced back down yet again.
What I'm impressed by in this fight is that they not only have over 1,000 damage ahead of the Storm Surge threshold, but they are still taking these fights with confidence. Chap and Teeny are going right in to their opponent's box, knowing they don't even need the damage. They just kind of want to insert that dominance and say, you know, we're here to play. If you want to take the fight, we'll do it. We don't care how much damage you've already done. Kiro has lost Mappy. Good news is it looks like he's gotten a little bit of a surprise, an early birthday present in terms of loot.
Choices too. There's another med kit there. Some extra nitro.
Wow.
He has to be very, very careful. I would say he has to probably grab that med kit again. But the zone is opening up just a little bit on his side. So even though he is a solo, I think the zone's favoring him just a little bit in order to try to stay alive. But there's a lot of fallen loot. I think another team sees it. They're trying to move in. That's Forzen and Guden, bro. I don't know if they saw Kiro there, but they saw the loot and they say, hey, we might need that in order to take us that step further into this game.
Vico Flixie. Very elevated position here. Should have no issues. Not only getting tags, but also just planning their rotations ahead of time if they end up not pulling zone. They kind of have a good idea of where a lot of the duos are currently based up and where the ones that might be a threat to them are. As we go right back to Belusi and his duo partner.
65 below. You can see why they were inching themselves closer and closer to a lot of teams as the game progressed. Really haven't found those opportunities to land shots in which they were hoping for. And those opportunities are going to come more and more with risk as the game goes on. But Chap, he takes a big shot. Focus on Belusi. They're not getting too greedy here in this situation. They got the damage. They don't want to risk it all to try to go for that elimination, especially with the next zone yet to reveal itself. But as it does, it's probably one of the farther pulls these guys will face in the lobby so far.
Yeah, now you have to make that quick decision. We can no longer stay here. We can no longer kind of trade those shots. It's time to find the rotate as the nitro comes through and they say, hey, we don't even need the rotation. We're going right into their box. 2 quick eliminations, but Lucy sent right back to the lobby. The last thing I would have expected with the zone being pulled so far, but Chapantini, they're them.
These guys are one of the best at doing that. Just weakening the walls just enough. Not taking them down altogether, but just enough so they can double nitro into the box, catching multiple opponents off guard today total. But that was just one prime example of that. And that's why Lunex and Monier, they have to be careful. I know you might want that loot. Try to scrounge together whatever you can, but you should wait until Chap and Teeny leave first.
Those are the plays you have to make, though, to put yourself in the position to close out these late games. The rotate's gonna come through. No crash pads put to use yet. They have a very clean rotation due to that mountain that's kind of blocking their line of sight from the opponents already boxed in the zone. You can kind of see them even rotating in the north side of the mini-map there. Looks like they have a pretty clean route into the zone. CZB Nathan, though, gonna choose to use a crash pad. Oh, almost taken down, but the pressure's on now. Nathan has to do a good job of holding the builds here, and they cannot peek.
Yeah, I think a couple teams, even the one that landed those shots, spotted them out, quickly tried to shoot some shots and focus on those builds, but they were building in metal. They expanded very, very quickly. So they knew it was going to take a lot of focus in that direction if they were going to go ahead and try to continue to tag them. So they set their eyes elsewhere. If you look across on the low island, might as well call this Vico Island for now. He's here by himself without Flixie. So even though he does have a massive lead in first place, I don't know how long it's going to last.
He's pulled zone, though. This is exactly what Vico needed. Not having a duo partner. The potential of threat was high if he was not going to pull zone, but he's the only person currently in this zone. The thing is now, all the players in the lobby are going to start rotating towards him, building on top of him, building around him. So he has to choose. Does he kind of want to build another box up? Does he just want to stay exactly where he is and let the clock tick? Cammy and Seti now. The first game they'd won off spawn. The first late game we're seeing played out by them. Can they make it count?
I hope they do make it count. Because it's okay to have a little bit of a slow start, but in 4 straight games in a row, that's not the start you want to have. Even with the point multiplier for day 2, it's just kind of make it harder and harder for yourself to try to come back. As Lolo gets spotted out by Cammy Seti, they make quick work of him. Unfortunately, they're not able to move over and grab that loot. But at least they can keep focusing these teams that have to rotate into them.
Shots continue to come through. Good amount of damage has been secured. Now it's just free pickings on those extra eliminations. They've already got one, but it wouldn't hurt to do more. Now kind of tarping closer and closer to the edge of the zone. Trying to see if they find more options.
Yeah, just trying to get themselves the edge of the zone. They're not getting too greedy moving forward. 1 below for Haijo and Kaido. Even with the off-spawn win here in this game, they're trying to make it worth it. Because winning the off-spawn isn't enough. If you go down before top 25, you get very few points for your game, but now they got themselves inside of the top 20. And a chance to pick up even more placement points. They have 5 eliminations. CZB and Nathan are the ones down below that are taking a lot of this team's focus.
They are going to be the ones to clean up the loot, recuperate what they might have used to get to that position. As you can see now, 42 builds to work with. They weren't even able to pick up the mats as there are other duos kind of protecting it. They are going to be forced to rotate here. You got to be careful with so much opening with the water. It opens the vision for the duos already boxed in. CZB getting a little stuck on the builds now, though. They are going to make it in.
Yeah, I like that rotation. Build up, knowing you have the Nitro. You will not take any fall damage on the way down, but they still got more of a mountain to climb. 2 teams are going to be the first ones there and try to keep everybody else out, but it's almost like a freight train. You can't stop the zone, which means you can't stop the teams. Merstash is by himself, and this is his chance to return the favor from some of the earlier solo clutches we've seen out of Malabuka.
Malabuka clutched it out in the first game. Merstash looking to do the same in the fourth. It's going to be Yanis and Pixie, though, who are in the sky. Going to be able to use that Flowberry Fizz to make sure they're safe and secure. But the issue is 22 below. They have to find shots. They have to apply pressure down on the duos below. But CZB and Nathan have been put into danger.
Yeah, they have to be very, very careful here. No resource. The zone pulls back. That's going to be a huge blessing, Vico. But it only lasts for so long. Flank coming in from Vico. He gets that first elimination, but there's not a lot of mats. There's not a lot of resources, so he's going to have to do that again.
Absolute confidence from Vico. Not a scare in the world in the 2 versus 1. He does pick up that refresh. Flowberry now going to bring him to 110 effective HP and shield as Yanis and Pixie are continuing to maintain height. But Cammy and Seti, they know they need a big game, and this could be the moment to take it.
Yeah, Yanis, Pixie landed some shots on the way down. Let them know, hey, we see you. It's not going to be that easy as they went ahead and maintain their position well above. But Seti, Cammy, not done just yet. They break them down once more, and this is where they're not going to challenge for the high ground just yet. 10th zone. They still got more time to go. Vico's staying alive, but very narrowly. 15 HP and shield that goes out the window as Akira and Easy enter the box.
Akira Easy continuing to hold on strong. This is the duo that contest Cammy and Seti. Cammy has gone down. Seti as well. Both players down now. But their opposing duo, Easy and Akira, they're looking strong.
Hey, when both teams are making it happen from the POI. They even look towards the backside of the zone, find another couple eliminations, trying to steal that loot as quickly as possible. Zone is pushing them in. Their time is definitely running out. But Yanis and Pixie, they're smiling ear to ear. Nobody really has contested them other than the one team that already went down.
They have space. They're applying pressure, but the player is stuck here in the mud. It's Ping, it's Walks. They have the option to play aggressive. They're going to take it. Akira goes down. One player left.
Their momentum has slowly but surely has slowed down just a little bit, but Easy's still alive, the only solo left in the game. He's getting pushed by two different teams. It gets taken down by Walks, but you have to be careful. Cheeps and Turtle are still there. They're the ones that are shooting down, causing a lot of the pressure.
It might come down to the height versus low, the 2v2, but there's still a lot of pressure down below. Sheeps gets knocked down. Turtle falls shortly after. It's now Walks and Ping all up against Pixie and Yanis.
Yeah, this is their chance to move up that leaderboard for sure. 2v2 situation. Ping's already weak. Walks is taking a lot of damage, but Yanis is down. Pixie falls like thieves in the night. Ping and Walks steal that game away.
They clean it up. Someone calls security. Walks was able to finish it off without a sweat. That was an intense last moment for both duos. Cammy and Seti from 50th on the leaderboard, clutching it up to be right back into the match, to Walks cleaning it up in those last seconds. What a way to close out the fourth match.
Yeah, that was one that was kind of a nail-biter of a finish. You almost thought Pixie and Yanis had it in the bag. They had high ground. They had full control. They're even pressuring the final two teams on that low ground, but Ping and Walks, they have turned it around. Multiple eliminations. Even though they're not getting a massive amount of builds from all of this, those are the builds that they've been used to claim the high ground and eventually take the game.
This is the game they needed to take that top side of the leaderboard. They were playing well, but they needed that big match, and this is exactly what's going to give them that shot to bump themselves up to potentially close to that first place spot.
So it's going to be an interesting one as the leaderboard shakes out. We need some time, so we're going to throw a quick commercial break, and we'll see who's in first after that.